project is a movement about honesty and empowerment. By stating, "I am not my," you claim that you do in fact struggle. But your difficulties do not define who you are as a person. You are not denying your struggles, you are owning them.
My caption was, "I am not my self-harm," and I have the word selfish because that's one of many things that I feel like people get told a lot when they are struggling with mental issues or various disorders.
I shared about my mood swings and I displayed my emotions on my fingers.
The message I wanted to get across today was that I am not my stereotype. And you know, when you see people, sometimes you form an opinion or you think you may know their struggle or their story just from their appearance.
I shared, I guess I'll show you, a lax bro and douche, and I think it says frat. You know, the lax bro mentality has been something that I've tried to stand up against and prove wrong, because there's a lot of negative connotations that are associated with that.
I shared that I am not my sexuality. So we have slut, whore, prude, picky, fag, and queer. I'm gay, and so it's like fag and queer, like those derogative words towards the gay community. It's just like, I don't, like, that's not who I am.
I wanted to have what my insecurity is, my depression, represented by the waning and waxing of a moon. So the colors are darker and lighter depending on if it's waning and waxing, because I think that in depression it happens over time and then all of a sudden it's very dark and very gray. But then on the other arm is, you know, getting out of that grayness and turning into the yellow.
The hardest part is definitely picking a phrase, picking something that kind of encompasses those feelings that are all too often too much to fit into one word, I think.
I guess I'm trying to say that a lot of people go through problems that you may not necessarily know others may have. So I just thought I could come in and share.
I think it was definitely empowering to write, you know, like crazy and irrational on my body and kind of show it off and let people know that no matter what people say about me and my anxiety disorder, I can own it. And I can admit to myself that I do have a mental illness, but at the same time, I know I can overcome it, and, you know, I'm just like everyone else. And it was also really empowering to be around other people who candidly talked about their issues, and everyone just, you know, was able to identify their problem and just own it.
People not knowing what depression means and kind of tired of having to answer all the time about how I feel and why I feel that way. And I want people to just kind of understand that it's there.
I feel like a lot of the things that are part of this project are things that people feel uncomfortable talking about, and I think that the kind of stigma around them would be a lot lessened if we actually did talk about them, and if we actually had more dialogues about what goes on with self-harm or being the fat kid or being having a history of abuse or anything like that.
You can't use a label to define someone, and I think that's what pictures show.
Why generalize someone because you caught them on a bad day?
So the reason I did it is that it's nice to actually be able to express something that is so much a part of you that you try to avoid or you try to forget about, and I think it's important and healthy to get it out there and have a community support you for it.
And then also at the same time to realize that it's not just who you are. Like my anxiety that's not just who I am. I am also other parts of myself, even the good and the bad.
You're not alone if you're suffering. If you feel like there's no way to move on, there's always someone you can talk to. I think it's okay to open up and trust them.
I think you gotta trust people, and I think the longer you hold something back, the more troubling it can be. You gotta trust people and be honest. There's nothing about yourself or the world you live in that's too terrible that you can't look at in the eye and work with it.
Even if you don't feel like you'll ever get past whatever you're insecure about, just live with it for a while. Just sit with it and just observe it. And even if it never goes away, you'll learn something from watching yourself and from watching the way that you grow over time.
We should celebrate our diversity as opposed to allowing it to separate us. It should actually unite us. We all have a story to tell. We all have God-given gifts, and I'm hoping that this project will help people to be more mindful of that, not to forget it, because it's very, very important.
Just know that these are one thing about us, but the point is that's not us. So I hope that nobody sees me differently or treats me differently because of it, but also that they should feel free to come up and talk to me if they have any questions.
I just want other people to know that they're, worth fighting for. We just have to write it out in solidarity.
It's empowering, and I can't wait to see everybody together and to make a statement as a school and as a community. Nothing defines you, it only makes you stronger, I feel like. So don't let anything define you, let it build you up instead of tearing you down.